The days after I ended things with Michael felt strange. A part of me missed him, but I knew I had made the right choice. I needed space to think about life and figure out what I truly wanted. To keep occupied, I spent more time alone with my friends and focused on my hospital work. Slowly, life started feeling normal again. One afternoon, after finishing my hospital shift, I decided to take a relaxing walk through the park. The sun was shining, and I needed fresh air to unwind. As I strolled along the path, enjoying the peaceful surroundings, I suddenly heard someone call my name. Anna. A familiar voice called. I turned around and saw Daniel, an old friend from college, walking toward me. It had been years since meeting. Daniel, what a surprise, I said, smiling. We hugged, and he asked about coffee. I agreed, happy for the chance to catch up. We found a small cafe in the park and sat down to talk. Daniel told me he recently moved back to the city for work. He was now a teacher, loving teaching. I shared stories about my hospital work, and we laughed remembering our college days. Over the next weeks, Daniel and I met often for coffee and conversation. We talked about our jobs, dreams, and lives. Unlike Michael, Daniel was always honest. I never felt confused or uncertain when I was with him, feeling truly happy. That was when I realized I no longer missed Michael or thought about him. Daniel and I continued spending time together. We watched movies and took long walks in the park, and sometimes just sat talking for hours about life and dreams. He was kind, funny, and always made me feel valued, appreciated, and deeply loved. Almost a year had passed, and everything between us was going well, beautifully. I trusted him completely, and we spent so much time together, growing even closer. However, one particular day, something happened that made me question everything seriously. It was a Friday afternoon. After finishing my hospital shift, I decided something unexpected. To surprise Daniel at his favorite cafe. I knew he often went there alone after work to unwind with coffee, but something unexpected changed everything suddenly. Excited to see him, I walked in expecting to find him sitting alone. Instead, what I saw made my heart sink instantly, and I froze there. Daniel was sitting with a woman. She was beautiful, tall, with long hair and a bright smile. They were talking closely, laughing together, seeming incredibly comfortable. My mind started racing with thoughts. Who was she? Was she his girlfriend? Why had he never mentioned her before? I felt overwhelming doubt and worry. I stood at the entrance, frozen in place. My heart pounded, feeling unbearable. A painful knot formed in my stomach, making it difficult for me thinking straight. I didn't know what to do. Should I walk over and say hello? Or should I leave and pretend I never saw them together unexpectedly? After a moment, I decided to walk away without confronting him about her. I couldn't face him, or the woman sitting with him, feeling completely heartbroken. My emotions were overwhelming. I hurried home, feeling confused, lost, and deeply hurt inside. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about what I had witnessed earlier today. I barely slept, and in the morning, I woke up feeling even worse. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but my thoughts wouldn't leave me alone. Later that day, he called me. His voice was cheerful, as if nothing happened. "Hey Anna, do you want to go for a walk this evening?" he casually asked. I hesitated. I wasn't sure if I could act normal after everything I saw, but I agreed to meet him, knowing I needed to talk honestly about this. When we met in the park, Daniel greeted me with his usual warm smile. We walked for a while, chatting about our day, but I struggled inside. The image of him with the woman in the cafe haunted my thoughts constantly. Finally, I couldn't hold it in any longer, and decided to confront him directly. I stopped walking and turned to him with concern. "Daniel, I need answers now," I said, my voice shaking slightly as I tried to stay calm and strong. He looked at me, concerned and confused. "What's wrong, Anna?" he quickly asked. I took a deep breath before speaking. "I saw you yesterday at the cafe," I began, trying to control my emotions. "You were with a woman, laughing together happily. And you seemed really close. I thought maybe she was your girlfriend, Daniel." Daniel's eyes widened in surprise and confusion. "Wait, what? You saw me there?" "Yes," I said quietly, unsure of what to expect from his response now. For a moment he was silent, and my heart sank deeper in fear. I thought he was about to confess something terrible, but then he laughed, softly shaking his head. Anna, he said, reaching for my trembling, nervous hand. That woman wasn't my girlfriend. She's my cousin, Emma. Nothing more, Anna. Your cousin? I asked, feeling embarrassed and regretting my earlier painful assumptions. Yes, he explained calmly. Emma just moved to the city and knows nobody. I was catching up with her and helping her feel more comfortable here. I didn't mention it because I didn't think it was important or necessary. I let out a deep sigh of relief, realizing I had misunderstood everything. Oh, Daniel, I'm so sorry. I just assumed the worst without knowing truth. Daniel smiled gently and squeezed my hand, reassuring me with his kindness softly. It's okay, Anna. I understand why you were worried, but trust is everything. But you don't have to be afraid. There's no one else in life. You're the only person I care about deeply, and I love you, Anna. Hearing his words, I felt all my anxiety melt away and disappear completely. I had been so quick to assume the worst, but now I trusted him. Daniel had always been honest with me, and I needed to believe him again. One evening, as we were having dinner together, Daniel asked about my past. At first, I hesitated, unsure if I was ready to talk about Michael honestly, but I trusted Daniel, so I decided to tell him everything truthfully and openly. Before we reconnected, I was seeing someone. I began, looking down nervously. His name was Michael, and he was complicated. He was married already, Daniel. And I knew it wasn't right, but I cared about him deeply still. In the end, I walked away because it was the right decision forever. Daniel listened quietly, not interrupting me, showing patience and deep understanding within himself. When I finished, he reached across the table and held my hand tightly. I'm glad you told me, Anna. I know that must have been difficult. But I want us to always be honest with each other, with no secrets. I nodded, feeling as if a heavy weight had lifted off my shoulders. Thank you, Daniel. I want that too, I replied, finally feeling completely relieved. From that moment, I knew Daniel was someone I could trust forever. Our relationship continued growing, and we supported each other through every challenge strongly together. I never regretted ending things with Michael. It was necessary for my happiness always. It was the right decision, and now I was with someone who cared. One day, as we walked in the park, Daniel suddenly stopped unexpectedly. Looking at me seriously, he took a deep breath before speaking emotionally. Anna, I have something to ask you, and I need your answer honestly. I looked at him, a little nervous, wondering what he wanted to say. I've been thinking a lot about us, he began, holding my hand warmly. We've been together for a year, and I can't imagine my life differently. You make me happy every day, and I want to spend forever together. My heart raced as I listened to his words, emotions overwhelming my mind. Daniel reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, elegant, beautiful box. He opened it to reveal a sparkling ring, shining brightly under golden sunlight. Anna, will you marry me? He asked, looking into my eyes hopefully. I was in shock. I hadn't expected this, but I knew my answer. Yes, I said, tears of happiness filling my eyes, unable to control emotions. Daniel smiled, slipping the ring onto my finger, and we hugged deeply. I had finally found true love, and I was excited for our future.